Welcome to Reread, where I'm standing now so you can get a different view of my bookshelf. Alright, so we're going to talk about two Marvel comic books here. And the first one is issue 64. Going to skip ahead a little bit. In this one, someone named Cinda crashes on the planet. She is part of Red Squadron. And Burl and Luke, who is also part of Red Squadron, they land, don't crash. Again, Luke isn't crashing as much as I'd like him to. But they get to this alien planet where they look like these medieval red alien type things. They kill Burr and capture Cinda. And Luke basically escapes, from being captured. He gets trained by an elder alien with a beard. We know he's old because he has a beard. They all look like these red reptilian creatures, but he has a beard. And so then Luke goes to save Cinda, who is captured by the king of the reptiles, and he challenges him to a joust, because it's all medieval times. And so he beats him in the joust, and the king is dead, and Luke can now be the king of this planet, but he doesn't want to. He gives it to the old man who taught him, and they make it safely off the planet. But before they do, they go, but Burl will always be in our hearts. And it shows like the white outline image of Burl smiling and the white outline images of Cinda and Luke going, our good friend Burl. Like, who is Burl? No, Burl was hardly in this. He was just like a red shirt. This plays just like a Star Trek episode. In fact, I would not be surprised if the person who wrote this also wrote for Star Trek, because it plays like an episode right out of Star Trek. Right out of Star Trek. Burl is the red shirt guy who gets killed at the very beginning, and then of course Luke, playing Captain Kirk, has to wrest control. He learns to sword fight and throw the bolos and all this other stuff, but he challenges them to a joust because they look like aliens, but they have a medieval set ready to go. So they went ahead and just filmed a episode of Star Trek on it where the aliens are medieval in a way. And like I said, just it feels like Star Trek. But at the end, it was kind of weird that they kind of give an ode to Burl, who was in 3 pages. I don't know. That's kind of weird. I mean, I guess it makes sense, because usually when people die, they're like, "Woo, I'm glad we made it out alive." Well, you didn't all make it out alive. There's someone who died. And I'm sure I'll try to point that out next time. But they did give him a memoriam at the end of the comic book for some reason. Well, now we skip on to the Star Wars annual, the second annual. Basically, Lando and Luke come across a shrine of Han Solo. What's Han Solo doing on this planet? Was he on the planet once? And the keeper of the shrine says, yes, here, let me play it. It's a talking rock. It basically records someone's voice. And it's Han Solo's voice. He said, well, I'm not much of a talker, but the aliens wanted me to recount the story that just happened, so I'll tell you. And basically, Han visits a planet, Ventuine, which is where they're at right now. Lando and Luke are there, kind of searching for Han, I think. And he was on Ventuine years ago with Chewbacca. And he has his regular Han Solo gear, but he dresses up in a green cape and a green hat, looking kind of like Robin Hood. That was his disguise, I guess, when he got on the planet. But anyway, he saves a girl who, kind of falls in love with him. She's like, I want you to see the sunrise off of my terrace in my room. He went, sunrise isn't for another 6 hours. She went, I know. Oh, it's actually a pretty funny line. But anyway, Han takes out the evil wizard, and that's how he became the hero of the planet. Meanwhile, the girl that he was touched by, this girl was touched by the evil sorcery, and she had to throw herself in this stasis chamber where everyone's like floating horizontally. Like once you enter the chamber, you automatically go into stasis. You kind of get knocked out and kind of float around the room. So once the story is over, Lando and Luke get an idea. See, they're being pursued. They're getting pursued by Imperials. So they're like, okay, well, let's trick them. And so they trick the stormtroopers into entering into the stasis chamber. And now the stormtroopers are laying horizontal because now they're in stasis. Haha, we did it. And that's how they get away. And honestly, that adventure is the last 3 pages of the book. This double-size annual is just nothing but Han Solo, because The people who wrote it said, screw it. We want to do a Han Solo story. We don't like Lando. We don't like Luke. We didn't do a Han. We didn't put them in the story that much for issue 50. You know, or we'll be darned if we put, you know, them in it that much for annual 2. Han Solo must never miss out on any of the big issues. So obviously, whoever wrote it wanted to write Han Solo's story, because that's all this is a Han Solo flashback with Lando and Luke at, you know, at the beginning and end, like maybe a total of 6 pages, maybe. I'm being kind there, out of the double-sized issue that the second Star Wars annual was. Either way, I mean, it's okay, but it's just kind of obvious. Again, missed opportunities. Showcase everyone else. You've been doing Han to death. You can do Han more when he comes back in Return of the Jedi, but this is just a writer who just wanted to write a Han story. And so he just wrote a flashback story that really could be summarized in basically just 1 or 2 sentences. definitely 1 page. But all right, folks, that's it for now. See you next time.